Hi everyone, this is Raven Shadowhawk and you're listening to Smut with Brains, my chance to chat with you about all the things that interest me as an author of erotic fiction. Please be aware that this podcast will often contain sexual content, some of it explicit, and that I occasionally swear, like a trucker. So long as you're happy with that, let's get this show on the road. Okay, yes, it's Raven Shadowhawk here, and this is episode 4 of Smut with Brains. Yeah, fanfare, la la la. Do you know what, right? I think I start every episode this way, but I never thought I'd make it to episode 4, so I'm pretty pleased to realise and to notice and to say that, yes, this is working. It's going incredibly well. And I have happies. So I hope you've all had a good week. I certainly have. Things have been happening in a beautiful way, and I'm just very, very pleased about it. First of all, I think what I will do is give you a life update, because, you know, we like to do that. We like to share and talk to each other about fun things happening in our lives and then move on. So let's see, what has happened this week? Well, this week, my brain's gone completely dead. What have I been up to this week? Work! That's what I've been up to. It's been brilliant. No, things have been happening in a way that they haven't been probably since July, August time 2015. It's now obviously January 2017, but I think I've done more this week than I have done for all those months previous, so I am in a very happy place right now. First off, I talked to you last week about wanting to get the next Smexxy Snippet up and out. Well, I finally managed to finish editing the bugger. Now that I look at it, or I look back at what I had to do this week, there wasn't a great deal left to do. I think maybe I just lost interest when I was working on it before, to the point that I got most of the way to the end and went, effort, and then didn't finish it. But there really wasn't that much to do. So I went through the file, had a good old tinker, and that was it. That's all I needed to do. What I have done since then is format a version for Kindle, which I put through KDP a couple of days ago. I also then formatted a version for Smashwords, which will then distribute the story to all of the other ebook vendors, so places like iTunes and Barnes & Noble and Kobo is what I meant, and various other odds and sods. So that's all been taken care of. What's happening at the moment is both Amazon and Smashwords are running checks on the file to make sure that there's nothing in there that they're horrifically offended by, that I followed all of their formatting rules, and the next time I check in, I'll be able to give you the proper release date for the piece. And this is so exciting because I haven't released anything new for ages. The excitement is real. Oh, yeah. Okay. The other thing I managed to do, at last, was have a read through the next Smexxy Snippet. So, SS6, which is called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I'm still thinking about that title. I'm not sure I like it, but I'm not going to worry about it too much while I'm still editing. Again, this is a draft, because it is a first draft, this one, which is actually quite clean, all things considered. I think when I wrote that one, I was in a particularly good place, which enabled me to get a really clean draft out, so I'm really pleased with that. I've printed the whole thing off so I can start my editing process, which first of all happens in hard copy, and then I'll move on to fine-tuning it back in Scrivener, which is the software I use for all of my writing endeavours. Endeavours. So actually, now that I think about it, it's gone really, really well. I am so pleased with the progress I've made. In the week coming up, there are a couple of things I'd like to do, actually. First and foremost is make sure that SS5 is ready to go. I will do all the tinkering I need to do in the background of KDP and Smashwords dashboards to ensure that they're ready to go out. I will then also email everybody on my mailing list who gets my newsletter to let them know what is happening. I will also email my bed buddies Hey, I'll chat about those another time, to let them know what's going on and give them their free copies as a thank you for all the things that they've done for me. Whew. Then the other thing I would like to do, actually, is to get stuck right on into the editing on SS6, because there's no reason to let these snippets hang over me, as it were. The idea originally was to have the original 10, and release them every other month. No, beg your pardon. It was to release them monthly, actually, because I was crazy back then. I then fiddled the schedule to release them every other month, and then quarterly, and then happened. So what I really want to do is get them done and out of my hair, because once the first 10 are done, as soon as I have an idea for another one, I can just add it into the series, and it frees me up to work on the other things I want to do, including the collaborative effort with you guys, and Slippers and Chains, and any other bits and pieces that take my fancy. There are loads of things that I want to do, and at the moment, because I have this weird linear brain when it comes to organising my time, I can't move on to anything else until these snippets are done. That in itself is actually really peculiar, because I don't work in a linear fashion. I told you guys last time about how I wrote the snippets and how I bounced all over the place, going like 9 and 10 and 3, 7, 6, 12, just bouncing all over the numbers and not actually doing them in order. And that is how I work, but in terms of organising myself and the way my time flows, it has to be linear. Otherwise, I get a bit broken and stressed. Doesn't make much sense to me, but that's the way it goes. I've learned to just accept it and move on. Oh, yeah, so that is actually my work roundup. It's looking really, really good. I'm very, very pleased. Okay, time to introduce a brand new feature, because I like doing stuff like that and I like having things to talk to you about. Things that make me laugh. This feature is called, as you may have noticed in the jingle, Things That Make Me Laugh. It really is as simple as something I spotted on the internet or out in the real world that made me giggle, and I was desperate to share for various reasons. And this one in particular is quite pertinent, because I was talking about Pokemon last episode or an episode before that. You guys are going to love this. Do any of you guys play Pokemon Go? I know I talked about this very, very briefly before, and how I've been obsessed with it, and I've talked about it in my newsletter as well, and on Facebook, across Twitter. I am obsessed with this game. I only actually downloaded it so I could show the Sproglings what it looked like to have a Pokemon in the real world, because it's got that virtual reality function. Except on my phone and my tablet, that function doesn't work, so it was completely moot. But I got obsessed with the game, and I've been playing religiously since July, and I've really enjoyed myself. So it's interesting to notice that people have jumped on the bandwagon in a really peculiar fashion, but not unexpected if I think about the way the world works, because the internet and most technology actually goes on in leaps and bounds to facilitate either fighting, war, so weapons, or the consumption of sex. It's one of the reasons why writing the things I do is so much fun and so easy, because there's always a bleeding demand for it. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I'm mooching around Facebook, and I'm on my Pokemon local group, because there's one for the city I live in, which is Leicester, and people are doing all the things that they do, talking about what they've captured recently and what eggs they've hatched. And this post pops up from a newspaper article, which I believe was published back in June or July last year. You're going to love this. It's the Mirror, so you expect some level of tackiness, but I'll read you the headline. Pokemon-themed sex toys have arrived. Bulby and Squirty want to make you Pokemon. I kid you not. The Pokemon sex toys are based on some well-known characters, and there's a few to collect. Can you believe this? Let me just scroll through so I can read you a little bit. Oh my god, there's a picture! Oh, I must find a way to show you this picture, because it's just insane. So, The Pokemon craze shows no signs of slowing down, you damn right, and now there's dildos to prove it. To absolutely nobody's surprise, a company is capitalizing on the massive global success of Pokemon Go with a range of themed sex toys. Called Pokemon, the toys come fashioned after the starter Pokemon available in the game. You can choose either Bulby, Charmy, Squirty, or Piki. Oh, God. Each has been given different attributes to maximise the fun. Bulby, for example, has, it's got quote marks here, a large seed tip, making it a very pleasurable friend to have. Ooh, gosh. And then there's just loads of little quotes in here about the company that makes it. They're called Geeky Sex Toys, and I get the feeling I'm going to be spending some time going through their website and having a giggle at all the things in there, because geek, self-confessed, but I mean, it's such a great idea, and it's a silly idea, but it's a great idea, and I really enjoy it. And Geeky Sex Toys has actually said, we believe a sex toy shouldn't just be a tool to get you off. It should be fun, entertaining, and visually pleasing, as well as physically pleasing. And I don't know why this is so funny to me, but it really is. And I really appreciate that there are people in the world who make this kind of thing, because it really appeals to my sense of humour. Oh, God. Let me give you the website so you can have a look for yourself. I promise you I'm not making this up. The website for Geeky Sex Toys, funnily enough, is geekysextoys.com. And oh my God, there's lightsabers! Lightsaber dildos! Oh, do you know when I said I was going to spend some time on this website having a look around? I kid you not. Oh my God, there is a dildo here called Supercock. It's got the Superman S on the front and a little red cape. Oh my God. Okay, seriously folks, if you guys are anywhere near as geeky as me, you will love this website. It's absolutely comical. I'm just on the home page and I'm wetting myself. This is great. Oh, and the Pokemon ones are on sale. Wow, there's a Sailor Moon dildo wand. Okay, I need to count. Do you know what? I'm going to just close this website down because clearly I'm getting a bit too excited about it. Anyway, that's the end of the Things That Made Me Laugh feature for this week. Oh, dearie me. Okay. I suppose I should give you a little bit of an update on what's happening with the collab project. I still haven't started it yet, because as I mentioned before, I want to get Smexxy Snippets out of the way and clear from my brain. But I am collating ideas. I'm using Scrivener to collect everything and make a note of it all. So it's in my mind, and it hasn't drifted away. And I'm coming up with little scenarios that I want to play through, and the opening, which I mentioned before, would be without your input, just so I can get started. I suppose I can give you a little bit of a teaser of that. I've already told you that this girl has come out of a relationship in which she was dissatisfied because she got bossed around a lot and had very little freedom to do what she wanted to do or think or feel. So she decided to find a way to get that for herself in a romantic sense. And her solution for that is to go BDSM, woo, dominance and submission, DS, yeah, DS. Yeah, that was her solution. So what I'm going to do is open up the first couple of segments, it's that word again, with her either scoping a website for ideas or scoping a website for, I don't know, to find people specifically. And I can't decide if she's going to meet this person through a website or she's going to, she could throw herself into the deep end and go straight to a club. That would be brilliant. Basically, there's lots of ways I can do this, and I'm going to spend maybe a bit more of this week letting those ideas percolate in my mind. I've talked before about my writing process and how, staring into space is actually a valid part of writing. But I think if I just take a little bit of time to actually not think about this specifically, then my back brain will work on it, and that's how the ideas come out. So I'm actually really looking forward to speaking to you next week and just riffing on what my back brain has come up with. Anyway, yeah, so that's an update for that. I still haven't decided what the title's going to be. I really liked the idea of learning the ropes, and if there was a way for me to, I don't know, separate it into sections or acts, if you like. So Act 1, learning the ropes. Act 2, I don't know, rope games or tying knots. I don't know. I'd come up with something cool, okay? I'm having a struggling moment here of thinking of things off the top of my head. But you know what I mean? So I think if I do the background stuff and at the very least put together character Bibles for my main character, the woman, main character, the sub, male, and maybe one other or two others, maybe a friend. Oh, the X. I want the X to feature as well. So those 4 characters, if I can build Bibles for them with backgrounds, then at least I've got something to springboard from when my back brain starts working. So I'll be doing that this week as well. And next time I'll be able to give you even more of an update and a release date for Smexxy Snippet number 5. Okay, with that in hand, I think it's time to move on to the Q&A for the week. Yes, folks, it's Q&A time. You ask the questions and I'll give the answers, and I will never, ever lie. Promise. So I've got this list of questions that I found before, and I'm still going through these because I actually quite like them. But remember, if you do have questions or things you want to know, please do send them to me and I will answer them in the next available podcast slot. It's far, far, far more fun for me to answer your questions than to go through this list, even though, as I skim it a little bit, these questions are good in that they are terrifying and that they'll make me think. Anyway, I'm going to do 2 today, I think, because I feel like it. The first of which being, does writing energize or exhaust me? Oh, good grief. That's a good question, isn't it? It depends. Writing, first draft, is very energizing. Not least because of the subject matter, but also because through drafting, I am living the life of these new exciting people, and I'm learning about them, what makes them tick, what makes them angry, what makes them sad, what they enjoy, how they interact with the people around them. And that's a really fascinating process. I like it. And when I'm drafting, it's very free because I'm not focused on writing something that's awesome and beautiful. I'm focused on getting the story down, which means I can just write whatever I feel like, go where the words take me, go where the characters take me, and worry about fixing it later. So that part is incredibly energizing. The part that is exhausting is the editing. That is the hardest part for me, because what I need to do at that point is rein in all those incredible ideas I've had and then turn it into something that's a story with plot and pace and a beginning, a middle, and an end, rather than this brain vomit version of the story that I wrote for first draft. And that actually takes me so much longer than drafting. I can knock out 50,000 words in a month. I do nano every year, and I usually do that 50,000 words in 2 weeks because it's so much fun to just get the words down. But the editing can often take me from December, when I tend to start, like late December after Christmas, all the way up to May, because I've got so much work to do to fix the mess that is the first draft. When I say brain vomit, I am not kidding. It's just bleh, words on keyboard, go. So in that respect, writing does both. It energizes me and it exhausts me. But I will say this, after a drafting session or an editing session, when I step away from my computer, I feel amazing. I feel like I've done something worth doing, something fun, and that tells me I'm in the right job. So that's a good thing, no matter how exhausting the editing is. Question number 2. Well, that's a bit pointless. Did you ever consider writing under a pseudonym? Yes. Next question. Let's find a better one. Do you try to be more original or to deliver to readers what they want? Neither. There are many people who say that there are only 3 stories in the world, or there's only 7 stories. Regardless of whether or not that's true, we're all human beings experiencing the same emotions, which means that we'll have very similar ideas from one point to another. The part that makes one idea different from another and one story different from another is how you execute it. So being original is quite difficult. Giving readers what they want, yes and no, because to some degree I am delivering what they want, because if they've come to me, then they want erotica, they want romance, and to some degree they'll probably want kink as well, so I'll do that. But I don't tend to write specifically for a specific genre or an idea, unless it's a Smexxy snippet and the reader's given me an idea, because that's something I do with the Smexxy snippets. But I don't go out of my way to deliver exactly what a reader might be asking for, because that's really difficult and it might not necessarily fit the characters I have in mind or the story I have in mind. What I do instead is deliver to readers in a very broad sense. So like I said, if they've come to me, they want erotica, they want kink, they want romance, they want essentially smut with brains. That's what I do. If readers come to me and they don't want that, then they won't stay with me. Something I believe quite firmly actually is that whatever anybody is writing, there will be an audience for it somewhere. You know, if you run a search through Amazon these days, there's all sorts of weird shit in there, like dinosaur porn and shape-shifting porn and daddy-daughter roleplay stuff and taboo incest stuff, which you're not supposed to put on Amazon, but people somehow get away with it. I really don't understand. And people get through loopholes with the bestiality thing by making people shapeshifters. And basically, if you want it, someone will be writing it. So I believe that if I write what I want to write, somebody out there will want to read it. All right, and that's it, I think, for today's episode. Thank you very much for sticking with me. I will catch you next time. And remember, when you masturbate, absolutely nothing bad happens, because it's perfectly healthy and normal. Peace out, folks. This has been an episode of Smut with Brains featuring myself, Raven Shadowhawk. If you'd like to get in contact with me or the Shared Brain, you can email through info@ravenshadowhawk.co.uk or hit us through Twitter on @IleandraXRaven. For further information and the episode archive, please visit www.ravenshadowhawk.co.uk. All episodes to date arranged and edited by Leah Osborne. Music for this episode sourced from bensound.com. Track title, Sexy.